Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This one's on Pumpkinhead. It's going to cover doing the roots that are exposed at the base using Z-Spheres. And as you can see, I got my character down here. The last video I talked about going in and creating some hanging roots that were more exposed at the bottom and showing in here. What I'd like to do is use Zspheres to create that. We're gonna jump in. We'll go ahead and set in here. We'll create a Z-sphere from the little window, and I'm gonna go ahead and do some roots following these examples from the internet. What I like to do is just start with some Z-spheres coming off of this. And if you look down here, usually it has, and we can look at it from top to bottom or the other way around. And it might be good to go that way. So we can even drag this down so that it does look like a root coming. So when I create the insert mesh brush, it won't be upside down either. Just dragging Z-spheres and plotting little nodes, just like a regular plant. I'm gonna bend it up so it's starting going sloping around, and I'll probably just die into the end right here, and we'll go here, create some points, and just dragging it down. It's fairly painless. It wasn't too bad. We're gonna scale some of these points to be a little more like a root, and that way you get the idea in there. We'll go ahead and branch off. As you can see, like there's little pieces on the corner that come off the ends, so let's go ahead and make one of those. We'll start about right here. Now I plan to use these as insert mesh brushes so that I can just kind of randomly place them and give them a little more character as I go along. Scaling the end, this, and moving them around. I have my hotkeys set next to my, I just have them set up on the keyboard so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. But what I don't have hotkey for is scale right there, so that's why I kind of jump back and forth if you're seeing me grabbing that. But we'll go here, drag this around, and you can kind of reminds me of lightning bolts when you kind of think about them in a way. So we'll go ahead and do another one here. We're going to drag this down. Usually I stretch it out to be past the point, so I'm not growing it along the edge. I just drag it out and then add the points as I go. And sometimes it helps to go ahead and scale that end so that it does have that trailing factor going in. So boom, 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 boom. And we'll just nudge them around and going from there. Kind of got a basic root going on. I can probably branch one more in there if I'd like to, or can I keep it simple and branch another insert mesh of a Z-sphere off of this. But it just depends on how you want to work it. This could be one. What I like to do is also move this around so it's a little more random, not too perfect. It's got to be, add that chaos to the model. Kind of look at it. You can look at it in your silhouette if it reads in there. This will probably be our first shape, and we could probably work from this to make another group of shapes. So we'll go here, maybe add a few more just to give it a little more random feeling. Boom. I love Z-spheres. It's always been with ZBrush, and it's something that always comes in handy, I think. just the way they work and how easy they are to achieve a look. So we're going to go down to our adaptive skin, and by default the density is set to 2 and your Dynamesh is set to 256. So if I press preview and you look at the mesh, it's going to be pretty heavy. So we're going to turn this off. We're going to drop the density and drop the Dynamesh. And so now when I push preview, it gives you a fairly basic shape, something we can work with, something that's not going to kill your scene if you add a couple of these in there. And that's what I like. So we're going to keep this as polymesh 1. And so that's right here. This is still my Zsphere, so I can always push the A and adjust it. So this is the first one, and we can name it again root 01. Let's see. And so that way when we go into this drop down, we can see what we're exporting out. And even then, I could probably save this Zsphere just for later. And it's always good to save things. We'll go in here, Z tools, and we'll make that root Zsphere 01. We'll just go from that. Let it save, do its thing. And so we now have a Zsphere that's shaped to start a root. We're going to do one more or two more. We're going to do a couple more real quick just to get the idea out. And we can move this around, nudge some things, and we can even stretch them out if we need to kind of give it more variation. And this one could be, we can even drag this to the other side so that it's not the same. And grab that little node. Just start varying it up like a lightning bolt. You can see right here on the, so this probably be a little bit shorter from that. And depending on how much detail you want, you can add as much as you like. I'll probably give it enough to where I can get a model in and work with it in the main scene file. This is just a starter. This is more like a base mesh to get you to where you need to be. Like I mentioned in the other video, it's like a cake. You're layering it up, and this is like another part of that layering. And so we got pieces coming off of here. We'll go ahead and add another part. So it's not like the other one. We'll go ahead and scale that down and boom, boom, boom. Adjusting that, we can probably scale it just some more. Give it some variance. And there you go. A little bit more in depth. And this one could be a more detailed root if I wanted it to be. I could probably put another one here. Doesn't hurt. These are fairly low when you look at them. I'm going to scale this down, and we'll do the same. And what I'll do is just kind of drag it away. I grab it. I made it too small. Oh, yeah. Put it to move. I was just scaling it, and then boom, 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 boom. And we're going to move it around. Branch that up a little bit more. It's so organic whenever you grab like the main part right there. It's pretty cool. I like that it feels alive. And so we're going to drag this one a little bit more. Maybe a few more features. Move them around. And then let's get our profile. Just kind of drag some of these pieces around. No, it's not so computerized. I keep mentioning that in other videos. Don't make it computer generated. Don't let the machine tell you what to do, right? So you got another root. And so looking at the top left, you can actually see how that reads. And if we go to our references, you know, fairly close. Something that'll work. You can look at this one. This is very detailed, but that's not what we're going to go for. We could actually branch off another one. And so if I jump in here and I want to root it off, then that'll be something to do that. But it's not for what we need. We're going to go ahead and get this going. There's another brush. And we'll create our depth of skin so we can look at it. Oh, and preview. Looks nice. Looks like something we can use. Let's go ahead and make it a Polymesh 3D. And let's go ahead and name that too. This will be named Root 2. So now we have 2 of them in there. And let's do one more. Let's just kind of do one for the road. So press A, go back to this, and let's move these around. Let's get some variation. So even that, if you click right here, you can get variations real quick and easy. It's just how you want to play with the model. Like I said, it's like organic. And if we really wanted to, we could probably just drag this around, drag that, and then there you go. And rotate. It's another tool. You can just rotate up here, and this will actually rotate the whole thing. And like I said, we can push this to the other side, push this over. You got something a little different than what we started with, and so we can drag this out a little more, probably scale that a little down, and you can see that was fairly painless. It was quick to create a root just using Zspheres, and this is not sculpting. There's other ways we could probably have done it with sculpting, but I feel like this is the quickest way to get to point A to B. So let's go ahead and add some little nodes off of this just to vary it up, and that way it's not like the other ones. And we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to scale this end and play around with each piece, and there you go. Look at that, got some roots growing. And this one could be actually a little bit more detailed on there. We can probably do just one more, just to give a little more character. And we don't have to use this one. This can be a standby model, and we don't have to use it, but it's there, and we made it while we're like in this thinking mode of creating roots. Every day is different, you know. Some days you're feeling like modeling in a certain way, and you'll notice whenever you go back to a model how you model differently. You're like, man, that was different morning. I was feeling a little more sleepy or something, to not be fully alert but still pushing forward. Every day's like a workout, you know, like you work out some days and you feel, yeah, I'm ready to work out. Some days a little more struggle. It comes a little easier today. So there you go. So if we look at this, and I use this often to kind of get a silhouette feeling, to know what it's going to feel like. And it's such a cool feature that's been added over the course of other updates. And we're going to push this around. Let's keep it from looking too stale. We're gonna push and pull, go from here, there, everywhere. So we got that one, and we can make a polymesh from that. Push A. Since my settings were already previously set, that's the good thing about having that already made. And now we have another root. We're going to name it 3. Root 3. And I like this root that we've already created. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's just keep that root. Zsphere. And it's going to be 2. Usually, if I do incremental saves, I usually do an A, B, and C. And that's what this is pretty much coming to. So let's rename this one too. Since it is an A version. And this one will be a B. I usually use 001 if I'm going to save as of increment save. And ABC makes me think that this is a different version or a different model. When I put 0102, makes me think I just saved just to prevent a crash. Just in case you're wondering what's going on in my head for this. So now we got 3 different roots. And let's go ahead and append these. Let's append this one. And let's append this one. So now we got each one in this folder. I don't like the way they're named. Renamed them. Let's fix that real quick. Rename. So now we have 3 available. And even from here you can see that you can use them combined and you got a deeper version of the roots system. What we want to do is create insert mesh. Is it multi-mesh or insert mesh? I think it'd be multi-mesh. We'll go here first. We'll just do new. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So let's do it again. Let's create multi-mesh. And then we got all 3 in there. Creating it the first time, just grab the one instance of that. I wanted to create a brush that has all 3 of these. And really, I didn't really need to save that Z-sphere, but if I wanted to go back and edit it, that's always there to jump back on that. Since I like these roots, and no point in creating another brush or another, not another brush, but let's save it. Let's save this brush. Just gonna make a little resource, brushes, and this will be roots, and we'll call them Z-spheres because that's where they came from. And I need to put correct naming. And now, if you're curious how this is gonna work, let's go to our Pumpkinhead model. As you can see, he's backwards and he's forwards. I'm not sure when he got twisted or when you know what, this is, since he was so old, this model from so many years ago, I guess that's the way he ended up. Or I flipped him without knowing. But I'm pretty sure he got flipped years ago and I just never knew it. He was backwards. That's okay. It still works the same. We're gonna go ahead and I just want to show an example. This is gonna be a shorter video and I wanted to show how I plan to add these roots. So if I were to go into add a root on here, it's gonna give me this mesh is multiple subdivisions. That's not what I want. So basically what I usually do is append and I always go to the star because the star always seems to work in here. And we're gonna scroll down. Our star is here. So now we got Christmas pumpkin, Pumpkinhead. It's kind of like the holidays when you go to the store. You got a mixture of Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. You can put them at the top of your tree, whatever you want to do. So what I'm going to use is that star to create my insert mesh brushes. And this is what I wanted to do. And you got your variations that you can use, however big you want to use them. And this helps because you can now drag them around, place them in the scene how you need them. And that one probably could have been a little bit the other way. But what I wanted it to be was a few roots hanging off the model. So whenever you looked at it, you had that feeling of roots hanging off of this, and that would be just from there. And depending on how much time I'm going to spend on it, you can keep adding more. But this was going to be in combination of using the last video of the vector displacement and using a little bit of this on there. And so as I get more detail added, I'm going to go in and add these roots everywhere and try to get something a little bit more to play with. And as you can see, it's fairly quick, fairly easy, really quick process if you think about it. We only spent a good, let's see, 20 minutes and we have some roots. And once you get them in here, you can go back and we can pretty much hide that, and we can delete hidden. So that star's now gone. And if we want to add subdivisions to this model, subdivide it and go back in, or even kind of go back in and smooth out some of it to where you have a little more points and stuff going on. And we'll just go in, and as we do it, we can just, you can actually start sculpting on it. And sculpting, I could have probably have done that during the insert brush, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like sculpting, and it's just a little way to have fun with it, a little more organic, so you can actually have them all unique. Because I don't really plan to add a lot of these roots, and I don't want it to be overkill either. I want it to just kind of be a little accent to the base, because I do plan to print this, but I don't want it to be the printer to be fighting each one of these details. And the other thing, and I'll show you this, that we don't have to keep it the same. We can actually just start molding that to where it makes it work, and now you got like a little more gravity feel. And so that's pretty much most of it, what I wanted to do. And this is what I'm going to use for creating the roots on the model. And even if I didn't like what was happening here, I can always, you know, beef them up. Go to the inflate brush and fatten them up, or whatever you want to do, really. You know, if you feel like it was not enough, you can thicken them up or squeeze them down. There's so many ways to go about this, but this is just a short video to show my idea of how I wanted to go about creating the hanging roots that are extruded outside of the base mesh. So hopefully this was an informative video, short video. The next one I'll probably put things together, or I'll create that little tree stump and go ahead and have that in the scene as a part of the base, and that way that's kind of out of the way. But it's just building it up, like I said in the last video, like a cake. And once you get there, you know, it's just pushing and pulling and adding the little pieces to it. So thank you for watching, and hope you tune in next time. Thanks.